how does our community and our families, how can they know how to really take a look at what's going on, even though it's a dark subject, as a mom and a dad and a community leader in our respective roles in the hospitality industry and every industry that we have in Savannah and the coastal market needs to be educated on where can they go if they see something, say something. What is the national hotline? And you're going to see that Brian Kemp, he really made a big focus on this. And if you haven't really followed along with this, I want to give you some statistics and some things that I think will bring more life to your interview. Number one, Brian Kemp, he started what's called the Operation Not Forgotten. That is where they partnered with U.S. Marshals, the FBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They actually went in and made this a priority. And so far, this past year, they had 39 recoveries. And that's not just, I mean, these are not just one child. These are children. And these children are anything from 4 all the way up to older adults that are put in. One of our participants was Judge Zayas. Now, Judge Zayas, she is served in the juvenile division, and what she does is she is the associate administrative judge and presides over what's called Grace Court. Now, that's a specialized division that created to address the needs of juvenile victims of human trafficking. And so she really put some things to perspective. And one of the questions that was asked was, what has COVID and how has that interfered or affected our court systems? And you know what her very first answer was the loss of the human factor, because they had to completely restructure the court system, even through the foster parents system. They had to close their courts. So that disruption had them to reinvent what our courts look like. So they went through the virtual and set up remote court. Now, they during these sessions, a lot of times they have the children come in and, judge will take them behind closed doors and talk to them and really get to know them and also the foster parents. Well, she said that they have a program called the Survivor Reentry Program, and they can really designate what this one child or this family or this foster care needs to rehabilitate and work through the issues they have, either it's social, the effects that it had on them personally, physically. She said they have what's called a rewards closet. When they come and they visit, she said they have like teddy bears and even hair dryers, simple things like blankets for these victims. And she said they had to close their doors. So I think that's an area where there might be some other community advocates or community groups that might be able to say, hey, I want to partner with you. How can we partner to make up for those close court sessions? Now, she did say there was advantages, though, to the closed court. She said where a lot of times these foster parents wouldn't show up because it's virtual, she's having more interaction for the virtual. She also said the attorneys, they love it. They don't have to get their suits on and get in their car and take off. They can 5 minutes sign on and they're in court. So it's helped that way. So it's also, it saves time and helps. It's been more efficient for them. But it has reinvented the wheel on that. Now, as far as our police force, we've had to actually change a lot on that too, because again, the police can't do what they were used to doing when they were going out to the homes in this whole restructuring. There's actually 6 stages of grooming. The first thing they do is it's called targeting a victim. Targeting a victim is when trafficked target victims who have some noticed vulnerability. So they're attacking the homeless. They even will go to places like our shelters, and they'll go to the shelters just to recruit and because they need money. Social media and apps with private messaging features makes it easier and faster for traffickers to identify their victims. They gain trust. They take this information and they use it so they can exploit it in certain ways to lure them in. Um, they also look for people who are isolated. And so the traffickers create times to be alone with the victim. The traffickers also begin to have a major role in the victim's life, attempting to distance the victim from friends and family. So they'll pull them for that. When the abuse begins, the trafficker begins claiming that a service must be repaid. So let's say that they bought them cigarettes, or they helped them with drugs, car rides, mobile phones. It might even begin with uh, illicit images, sex texting that they're used to threaten the victim with. So, you be careful on that. It is the little things, and then they'll use it. And you think about these teens who are at that age, they're experimenting, they might be going to websites. They actually have ways, in some ways, that they can get on your camera and take pictures. Then they've got you, and they'll use that. And then what mom and dad don't know, they think that, they're scared to death and they don't want to tell mom and dad, but then they also notice that their child's gone, and they went to go and give this guy money or meet with them, and next thing you know, they're gone.